Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to put trunk weather stripping on a 55, 56, or 57 Chevy. We're still working on the car. We've got the trunk painted, we got tops and bottoms painted. Now we're putting the weather stripping on it. So there was several different ways on the way the weather stripping could go. And if you sit and think about it, you could put it this way, you could put it this way. This little top part is facing down. The trunk, this is actually down because the trunk lid is upside down. And this small flap lays flush with the body. So then that is just glued in with like that. If you install it backwards, it'll be hard to close the trunk and it won't sit right once it's closed. So what I did to put this in, I'm gonna just show you guys a little bit as I go through. I'm putting this tape on it and I'm protecting the part that I painted because we spend so much time painting these cars and making them look nice. You don't want the glue coming out and jutting off and ruining the paint job and the weather stripping. So what you can see is I put the tape on the outside of where I know that the weather stripping is going to go. And as the weather stripping comes around, it folds around and continue in that pattern. The weather stripping will sit like this. And that part that we talked about pointing down over here is now pointing out to the side of the car. It's this part right here. When this weather stripping goes in, this flat part is sitting against the body, and then the trunk pan on the body of the car rests in this little groove that goes all the way around. Here's a photo of the trunk lip for reference. And then when that goes in, what I was talking about the tape, is as I glue it, I only work about a 6-inch section at a time. And then when the sections that I've glued, I'm putting the tape across here like this, and I'll let this sit overnight and dry. And then tomorrow I can put the trunk lid on the car. But as I glue it, I'm only working about a 6-inch section at a time, taping it, securing it, working my corners, and then taping it, securing it. So as we go around, we're gonna have the point where these two sections come together. There's gonna be extra weather stripping. So what you're gonna do is, because we live in Florida and it's hot, this will shrink a little bit. When these two sections come together to glue them, I'm gonna put a little glue across the bottom, but then I'm also gonna put glue on both sides of this. And I don't wanna just have it where it fits together and push it together, because as the heat and this material shrinks, it'll pull apart and separate. So what I'm gonna do is cut it just about 1/4 of an inch past, and then I'll just force these two pieces together. And I'll show you once it's done and glued how it'll look. But that way we'll seal these two pieces together and then we'll glue them together and it'll look like one seamless seal. So to put this weather stripping in, this is what I use. This is what you should use, because this is designed for this. It's 3M super weather strip adhesive. It's very tacky and it's designed for the weather stripping on these cars. Don't use silicone, don't use anything else. This is the best product to use. And I'm just going to show you kind of how I'm doing it. Like I said, I'll kind of work 6 inches at a time, and I'll just put the adhesive here. I have a plastic here because this can get stringy and stick on your paint. I'm just running a bead of this on here. All right, so I'll put this down onto the glue, and one of the things that helps this stick a little bit better, by doing this now it's sticking to both sides, I'll slightly peel that back and let it get a little bit of air up into there for a few seconds, and you can see it's very stringy and sticky. So you let it dry for just a little bit and then put it back together, and it's almost like a contact cement and it'll hold it. So now that I've put that down, it's pretty well stuck on there, but it will move. So to make sure that it doesn't come back off, I'm just putting some tape across it to hold it. So here's the completed weather strip on the trunk lid. I'm gonna let it sit like this overnight and make sure it's completely dry before it goes onto the car. So we let this dry overnight, and we took all the tape off, and the weather stripping is in. We painted and detailed some of the pieces to go back in, the latches and all that. So as we put the trunk back in, everything looks brand new. Everything's been greased and kind of restored, so everything functions like new. Here's all the small pieces that were cleaned and painted to include the trunk springs before they went back into the trunk for final assembly. Just wanted to show everybody the seam. This is where the weather stripping comes together. Like I said, I cut it so there was a little bit extra, and then glued the two pieces together and put it together. You almost can't tell where the seam is, but I always have it at the back towards the latch, just in case it does spread or open, you won't have a leak up front. And also, if you look at this piece of trim here, I believe the factory actually put this on first and then the weather stripping, but I've got it so it actually is holding that weather stripping down as well. So it's just a little bit more insurance to keep everything nice and tight and watertight and keep the wind noise out of the car. So here we are with the trunk back on the car. The trunk has been restored, the weather stripping has been put on it, and it's all been painted. I hope you find some value in these videos, and if you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos.